Hey everybody, welcome back to the cabin. I am just tying up some rabbit snares out of brass wire. And the reason for that is, I don't know, been putting a lot of thought into this year, especially because things have been going so slow on the channel so far this winter. It's been, like I said, been very challenging with my wife here with me to get things filmed every week, just a different routine. And we've been doing another project actually that I'll tell you about in the future that's been keeping us pretty busy too. And yeah, just been putting a lot of thought into the entire lifestyle and what I'm doing here and what I'm actually filming. And you know, a lot of stuff going on in the news this week too, especially this coronavirus, and not necessarily the devastation or anything caused by that virus, but more about the panic and the media attention that it's getting. You know, we'll see whether it's justified or not, but so far what we're seeing in the news is that it's not any different, and it's in fact less impactful than things like common cold and the flu. But nevertheless, it's creating kind of a panic. And my only real source of news like that, really the only thing I look at is Facebook for current news, which is not the best idea. But anyway, it's all I care about, let's put it that way, in world news. So what I see is just a bunch of people panicking, posting pictures of the shelves of Costco and stuff like that, places like that people go in and buy things in bulk, and all the things that are missing off the shelves because they've been over purchased. And I don't know, I guess it's kind of a reminder of what I'm doing, and also a reminder of how exposed everybody is to potential risk that we don't necessarily take seriously. That's why I hesitate to say it's not a big deal. Don't worry about this virus in particular. But anyway, it's a reminder to be prepared for anything, any event, whether that's a weather event or a virus or something like that. Anyway, bottom line is, the way it's making me feel now is that despite what I've said even in the recent past about my lack of attention, or the minimal attention I'm putting on food acquisition, or being completely food self-reliant or food independent, I'm rethinking that strategy. And I guess part of this is seasonal. Every winter this time of year, I don't film as much, and I'm kind of hunkered down a little bit, and I'm not as productive. But then when spring starts approaching, start getting excited about all of the projects I can do outside more efficiently, but also acquiring and growing food. So I've changed my mind somewhat about that, especially since I have my wife's help now. What I did earlier this week and today was started clearing more of an area to expand that vegetable garden, the one that I started last year. I've been looking down here in the meadow. I had dammed it and backed up that water a little bit. I'm going to see what that looks like this spring. I may look at growing some aquatic plants down there in that valley, or encouraging wild edibles that thrive in a wet environment. So the other thing is that I've been spending a lot of time off camera lately this winter, doing some exploring of the area and trying to find the pockets of fish and game. And what I'm discovering is that the number of animals in this area this year is far down from what it was 2 years ago. Was it 2 years ago or 3 years ago that I started, that we bought this land? Anyway, since I started coming up here, the animal populations are down, and mainly that's probably because of the winter that we had last year. It was so harsh, so long, and the snow was so deep that animals had a hard time getting around. So anyway, for that reason, I'm discovering that I need to go further afield. I've mentioned the outpost camp in the past, my future hunting and trapping camp. So what I've decided is to spend a little bit more time there this year, and harvesting more of my food from the land, and especially in that area. I'll do what I can around here, but like I said, populations are down, including fish. Some of the lakes that I thought would be more productive than they are I have been catching very little this year, and it's been kind of just discouraging. So I know of some better lakes near the outpost camp. So I'm going to make that cabin out there a priority and start spending time there getting, well, even this month, I've got another month or so to hunt and trap rabbits for food and for furs. And fish, some of the fish seasons are closed at the end of this month as well, coming up, which means, and then those species close for a month or two and then they reopen again. So I have to target other species, and that means targeting other lakes and what I've been focusing on. Just got some bear steaks sizzling on the pan over here, so hopefully that's not too disturbing. So, food production. So, like I said, I'm expanding that garden. Now down in the valley, that's just behind the sauna, as you could probably see in the earlier footage, but just down sort of between here and the longhouse, there's a spring pond. Basically all the water from the melting snow drains into that low area, and when we get a heavy rain it does too, and then it slowly seeps out. I'm going to put somewhat of a little bit of an earthen dam at the other end of it and kind of hold some of that water back, and then dig a shallow well. That will be much closer to bring the water up to the vegetable garden than bringing it up from the stream like I did last year, or from rainwater that I captured off the roofs here. So that's a plan. So that's going to happen soon. Now the reason I cut the maple trees down today is that we have a string of warm weather coming up. I think it's calling for 10 degrees Celsius tomorrow or the following day, which means the sap's going to start running. And once the sap starts running, you get a lot higher moisture content in those trees, and then they become, takes a lot longer for them to dry for firewood or to lighten up to use as building materials. Some of those thinner trees I'll use as roof rafters for either the workshop or the outpost camp if I want. I won't bring the logs all the way out there, but stuff around here, chicken coop maybe. And then I tapped the trees, as you saw as well. Tapped a bunch of maple trees. So I've got maybe 25 or 30 buckets out now. We don't consume a lot of sugar, even natural sugars like maple syrup and honey. I can get honey from a fairly local source, but I actually prefer maple sugar. But anyway, we don't use much, like hardly any, a little bit in tea or coffee in the morning, and that's about it. So we will make sugar this year instead of syrup. I have some big trips planned just to go a little bit further to harvest game this year, including a better spot for moose hunting. And with my wife getting her hunting license this year, I'll be able to get a couple of deer as well from around here, and at least one bear as well. So between that, trapping, I do have my trapper's license, by the way. I've never mentioned that, I don't think, before. In my region, you can't snare rabbits on a hunting license, but you can on a trapping license. So that's what I do with these. Just north of here, I can actually trap rabbits just on my hunting license. But anyway, I can also hunt them till the end of this month. So they're a tasty source of protein, but it's only protein. They don't have any fat in them, so I do need other game to supplement. Trout season will be coming up soon, so I get a lot of our fat calories from trout, and from all the bear fat that I have on the shelves here. They've been rendering over the last year, just about a year. So I've got lots of fat left still. Anyway, that's the focus. I'm going to continue to and expand my knowledge of the wild plants around here as well, so I can start foraging a lot more of that. My wife's very interested in that as well, especially mushroom foraging. We didn't do well on spring mushrooms. We don't know them as well as we've learned our fall mushrooms, so this spring we'll be spending more time learning all about those. So I wanted to share with you updates. I know videos have been slow this winter, but as you can see, I've been busy doing other stuff, including getting all the wood ready for the workshop. So despite the fact that I am saying food's a high priority this year, I am starting that workshop, or already have started it, and I'll be hopefully progressing pretty quickly on that in the spring and the summer. And at the same time, I'll probably get out and start the outpost cabin as well. And then I'll spend more time acquiring food from the land and learning a lot more about that. So I hope you're interested in that. To me, that I guess this is the next step in our path to self-reliance. It's a big year to me. We've spent enough time kind of establishing the homestead, and now it's time to start reaping the rewards of it, or make it more productive so that we can actually live fully off grid. In situations like this virus, where people are starting to panic and withdraw from society, or trying to reduce their exposure to risks, and that's our opportunity here, that we can do that. But in order to do that, we need to make sure we're as self-reliant as possible. Now, part of that too is starting to get weaned more off of the power requirements. Use the snowmobile quite a bit this winter. I want to reduce that a little bit more. Been using the chainsaw to cut up some firewood and the logs, and to mill those the round logs into square timbers. But I did do some hewing, and I really enjoyed that. So I've got to learn to relax and take things a little bit slower, so that I can spend time doing things the way I really want to do them, rather than trying to be faster and more efficient by using something like a chainsaw or the snowmobile. So that's one of my goals this year as well. Anyway, we better have our lunch and then get out and get some more trees tapped, I guess, and maybe cut a couple more trees down to clear more of an area for the garden. And then I think the sap's going to start running, like I said, tomorrow or in the next couple of days. So we'll probably be boiling syrup by the next few days anyway, and just getting out and enjoying this beautiful weather. So hope you are too. Hope you're getting outside, and I hope you're having a great week. And I look forward to seeing you at the cabin next time. Take care.